New today, President Trump is taking aim once again at the special counsel. In a tweet, the president expressed his frustrations with the investigation. Quote, "The Mueller angry Democrats recently deleted approximately 19,000 text messages between FBI agents. This is a total obstruction of justice. All texts demanded." But earlier this month, the Justice Department released a report announcing the retrieval of more than 20,000 text messages between the agents. Joining me now is MSNBC legal contributor Katie Phang and former federal prosecutor Steven Mulroy, author of the new book, Rethinking U.S. Election Law. So, Katie, as we get started with you, the president's lawyer, Rudy Guliani, is also making these assertions about the text here. So when it comes to the basis, what evidence are they basing their claims on?
Rudy Guliani is probably the most consistently inconsistent person you can have as a Trump surrogate. Because at this time, he's now saying, look, these text messages, does Donald Trump really know? Do they have value? I mean, if Donald Trump is now the threshold determination of whether or not there's value and evidentiary value to these text messages, then we all should just, quit practicing law. But Giuliani is also saying that he is not, as in Donald Trump is not going to be sitting down, perhaps, and giving a live in-person interview with Robert Mueller, but then he says, I'm not giving any more written answers. I mean, he's all over the place. And so I think the fact that Giuliani himself cannot assert a position that Donald Trump is going to take vis-a-vis either the evidence that's been collected by Robert Mueller or a possible sit-down interview just goes to show that Donald Trump doesn't have sound legal strategy, Francis. He doesn't really know how he's dealing with the Mueller investigation.
When it comes to the inconsistency that you were talking about, Katie, Stephen, I want to ask you about that. You have Rudy Guliani, who was on with the Hill TV in an interview, said that he believed the investigation should end soon, and then he changed it. And he said, whether the president should answer any more Mueller questions. So does the investigation move forward if there is no interview? Can the president be subpoenaed?
Right. So, Francis, Giuliani has been all over the map on this, and it's not quite clear why. It's understandable why Trump's lawyers might not want him to sit down for a live interview, but it's also just as understandable that Mueller would want one. There's no substitute for asking live questions and following up, checking witness demeanor, looking for inconsistencies. I think he has that right. If Trump's lawyers do refuse that sit down, then he can subpoena the president. Now, applicable Supreme Court precedent shows that a president must respond to a subpoena, at least for production of documents, and that the government's interests here are at the highest in a criminal investigation, which is what the Mueller investigation is. Trump's lawyers may try to distinguish that case involving President Nixon in subpoenaing the tapes by saying, well, a live interview is somehow more intrusive or more distracting. That argument might work, especially now that Justice Kavanaugh's on the court. He's famously an outlier, even among conservative justices, for saying, oh, let's not distract the president with criminal investigations. But if you take a look at all of the Supreme Court case law, especially the one involving President Clinton, where they said that the case against him had to go forward even while he was president, it seems like the weight of the precedent is on Mueller's side, that he has the right to subpoena the president, and the president should comply with that subpoena.
And meanwhile, going back to Rudy Giuliani, Katie, I want to talk about that, especially with what you're calling the inconsistencies, that he's kind of all over the place. So when it comes to what he's saying about the strategy of President Trump here, is he helping the president or is he doing more harm legally for him?
Well, so normally, if you were dealing with a regular client, you'd be saying that he's, doing a lot of harm to a legal strategy. But you and I both know that this is exactly the Trump way that he plays theater, right? So he's creating all of these distractions and he's talking about all these issues so that in the end, he can always say, no, I didn't take that position earlier, or no, I didn't really say that. And so it really helps him dodge. He's doing the stutter step where he's trying to figure out how to get to the end zone, but he doesn't really know how to get there, so he's playing it by ear, and he's letting people like Rudy Giuliani, foolishly, again, who is a representative legally of Donald Trump, he's letting Giuliani go out there and say these things. But ultimately, as we just heard that's being said, there's going to be a legal challenge as to whether or not he has to sit down and actually answer to this stuff. And I would not Rudy Giuliani, I wouldn't want him to be my representative in court to be able to assert my legal position on this, because I don't think it's going to be a winning one.
Yeah, especially when it comes to this triple fight here that he's got when it comes to the special counsel, the Southern District of New York as well. Then you've got the New York Attorney General. So, Stephen, ahead to 2019, how is he going to stay afloat with these, when it comes to kind of a trifecta in here, what he's got to go against?
He certainly is going to have a lot of different legal challenges coming at him from multiple different directions. You're absolutely right about that. But He is unique in one respect. There is at least some authority suggesting, although it's not quite clear yet, that a sitting president can't be indicted. So from his perspective, it's not the legal court he's worried about, it's the court of public opinion and the court of Congress with potential impeachment. And that's why, what we just heard, it may be an unusual strategy for a normal client, but for a president, throwing up some confusion and, banking it all on hoping that there won't be enough of a political call for impeachment, that may be his best strategy, because he may be thinking he won't actually be charged himself because he's a sitting president.
Yeah, well, when it comes to that, as far as the biggest threat, Katie, in these investigations, which one is the biggest threat to him?
I was telling somebody the other day, you can close your eyes, like pin the tail on the docket, you could probably find one that could take down Donald Trump. And the reason why is this: we never thought that the Trump Foundation would be shut down, right? And it just got shut down courtesy of the New York State AG. And so because of that, I think that you see that there's exposure and there's pressure points. There are Achilles heels multiply for somebody like Donald Trump. And so usually any one scandal would be enough to topple somebody like the President of the United States. But there are so many different opportunities, I think, for not only the Democrats, but also the prosecutors on a state level and a federal level to be able to find the huge hole to drive that Mack truck through, to be able to really get to Donald Trump from a legal basis.
Yeah, and if not, infiltrate through his closest people, Roger Stone,
Jerome Corsi,
his son, everybody else. So we'll see a lot to watch in 2019 when it comes to the legal side of it. To both of you, Katie Phang and Steven Mulroy, thank you.
Thank you.
What could be the biggest offense President Trump committed in his visit with troops overseas?